People often say to me, with a kind of wonder in their voice, that the Amish seem never to get sick, that we live long and stay strong and stay out of the hospital in a way the rest of the world does not. And I always answer them honestly, for I will not trade in falsehood even to make my people sound better than we are. We are not free of illness. We are born, and we suffer ailments, and we grow old, and we die, the same as all the children of men. And when a serious sickness or a bad injury comes, we go to the doctor and to the hospital, and we are grateful they are there. So let me say it plainly at the outset. This is not a video about some secret that lets a person never be sick a day in his life, for no such secret exists, and anyone who tells you it does is deceiving you. But there is truth underneath the wonder, and it is this. In our communities, a great many of the slow, creeping, chronic sicknesses that fill the hospitals of the modern world are far less common than they are elsewhere, and people often stay active and independent and clear of mind into a great old age. And that is not luck, and it is not in our blood. It is in the way we live. Today I want to share with you the parts of that way of living that keep a body well, so that you may take up as much of it as you are able, and perhaps spare yourself some of the troubles that need not come. Let me be as honest and careful here as I know how to be, because health is a serious matter, and I would not have you misunderstand me or take my words for more than they are. I am an old man sharing the plain wisdom of how my people live. I am not a doctor, and nothing I tell you today is meant to treat any sickness or to replace the care of a physician. If you are ill, see a doctor. If you take medicine, do not stop it on the strength of anything an old man says on a screen. What I am giving you is not a cure for anything. It is a way of everyday living that helps to keep a well body well, and that the doctors themselves, the honest ones, will tell you is sound, for everything I'm about to say is well known to medicine as the plain foundation of a healthy life. There is no quarrel here between the old ways and the doctor. Take these habits as what they are, good daily living, and keep the doctor for what the doctor is for. Now, the very first and greatest thing, the thing I would set above all the others, is that we move our bodies all the day long. This, I believe, is the heart of the whole matter. A man of my people does not sit. From before the sun is up until it is down, there is work to be done with the body, and it is real work. Walking and lifting and bending and carrying and hoeing and building and hauling. The women work as hard in their own sphere, the garden and the wash, and the great labor of cooking and keeping a large household by hand. We do not drive when we can walk. We do not use a machine where our own strength will serve. And so from childhood to old age, the body is used, constantly, moderately, day after day after day. And I am convinced this is the single greatest reason we stay well, for the body was made to move, and a body that moves all day keeps its heart strong, and its limbs strong, and its weight in check, and its blood and its humors all in good order, in a way that no hour at a gymnasium can ever match for a body that sits the other 23. You need not take up farming, but you can walk instead of ride. You can use your own hands and strength instead of a machine. You can rise and move all through your day instead of sitting. Movement, gentle and constant and lifelong, is the closest thing to a medicine for staying well that I know of, and it is free and it is available to nearly everyone. The second great thing is what we eat. And here again, the truth is plain and not at all mysterious. We eat, for the most part, food that we ourselves grew or raised, food that came out of our own gardens and off our own animals, whole food, real food, prepared at home in our own kitchens from things that were recently alive. The vegetables from the garden, the eggs from the hens, the milk from the cow, the meat we raised, the fruit we grew and put up, the bread we baked. There is very little in our diet of the packaged and processed food that fills the modern table, the things made in factories and full of ingredients a person cannot name. Now I will be fair and honest here too, for our old cooking is hearty and rich, with plenty of butter and sugar and fat in it, and it is not what a doctor would call a perfect diet, and I will not pretend it is. But it is real food, whole food, made from scratch and eaten at a table with the family. And there's a great deal of good in that, in eating what is real rather than what is manufactured. If you take one thing from this part, let it be this. Eat food that is close to how it grew, cook it yourself, Know what is in it. The further your food is from the garden and the closer it is to the factory, the less good it does you, and simply eating real food prepared at home is one of the kindest things you can do for your body over a lifetime. The third thing is one that the modern world overlooks entirely when it thinks of health, and yet I believe it is nearly as important as the food and the movement, and it is this: we are never alone. We live our whole lives wrapped in the close company of family and community. A person among us is surrounded from birth to death by kin and neighbors, by people who know him and need him and will care for him. The old are not sent away to live among strangers. They stay in the home, valued, useful, cared for by their own children and grandchildren until the end. There is always someone to talk to work beside, to share a trouble with. There is a place for everyone, and everyone has his people. And the doctors have come to understand in recent years what my people have always known, that this belonging, this being known and needed and cared for, is medicine of a powerful kind. Loneliness and isolation wear a body down and shorten a life as surely as any bad habit, and close human bonds strengthen and lengthen a life in ways that are only now being measured. This may be the hardest of our ways for a modern person to take up, for you cannot build a whole community in a day. But you can turn toward your family. You can know your neighbors. You can share your troubles rather than bear them alone. You can make yourself useful to others and let others be useful to you. That turning toward one another is worth more to your health than you can easily imagine. Close beside this is the matter of the mind and the spirit, of stress and of peace, for a troubled and hurried and anxious mind wears hard on the body over the years. Our life is not free of trouble, God knows, for farming is hard and uncertain, and sorrow visits us as it visits all. But our life is unhurried, and it is grounded, and it has meaning woven all through it. We are not racing against the clock. We are not chasing after more and more of what money buys. We live at the pace of the seasons and the animals and the daylight, and we have our faith and our community to hold us steady when troubles come, to give us a place to lay our burdens down. And that steadiness, that freedom from the constant grinding hurry and worry and wanting of the modern world is a great gift to the body. You may not be able to change your whole life's pace at once, but you can slow down where you're able. You can want less. You can find meaning and purpose in your days and rest in your faith or your family or whatever gives you peace. A calmer, more contented, more purposeful life is not only a happier life, it is very often a healthier and a longer one. And there are the plainer things too that go along with all of this. We keep good hours, bedding down early and rising early, and we sleep well, for a body worked hard all day in the fresh air sleeps deeply, and good sleep is one of the great healers and preservers of a body. We are out of doors in the fresh air and the sunlight a great part of every day, and that too does a body good, the moving air and the light of the sun. We do not, as a people, take up the tobacco and the strong drink and the other habits that so plainly ruin health, and the simple avoiding of what is known to harm is a large part of staying well. None of these is a secret. Sleep well, get outside, avoid the things that plainly harm you. Every doctor alive would tell you the same, but it is the living of them day after day, year after year, all woven together into a whole way of life that does the work. Let me be very clear once more, for it matters, about what all of this is and is not. It is not a promise that you will never be sick, for you may be, and we are. It is not a cure for any disease you may have, and if you are ill, you must see a doctor and follow the doctor's care. It is not a reason to refuse medicine or treatment. My own people, for all our healthy living, still need the doctor and the hospital when serious sickness or injury comes. And we thank God they are there, and we go. What these old ways are, rather, is the daily foundation that helps to keep a well body well and to hold off, for as long as may be, the slow, chronic troubles that so often need not come at all. Movement, real food, close community, an unhurried and purposeful life, good sleep, fresh air, and the avoiding of plain harms. That is the whole of it, and there is nothing in it the best doctors do not themselves urge upon their patients every day. I should say something, too, about how we tend the small sicknesses that do come, for it is part of the picture, though here I must be especially careful in what I tell you. When a minor ailment visits our home, a cold, a small fever, a cough, an upset stomach, an ache, we do not go running to the doctor for every little thing, as some now do. We rest, we drink warm things, broths and honeyed teas. We let the body do its own healing work, which it is remarkably able to do when it is given rest and warmth and time and good nourishment. There is wisdom in not rushing to a strong remedy for every small complaint, in trusting the body's own great capacity to mend itself from the ordinary troubles, in resting when you are unwell, rather than pushing on and making it worse. But hear me clearly, for this is important. Knowing which troubles are small and which are serious is itself a kind of wisdom, and where there is any doubt, you go to the doctor. A cold you may rest through at home, but a chest pain, a great difficulty in breathing, a sudden weakness or confusion, a high fever that will not break, a pain that is severe or that grows worse, a bleeding that will not stop, an injury of any seriousness. These are not things to rest through or to treat with a home remedy. These are things to seek help for at once, and my people know the difference and act on it. The old way is to handle the small things simply at home and to go promptly for the serious ones and never to mistake the one for the other. Do not let a wish to avoid the doctor keep you from him when your body is truly in danger. That is not thrift or wisdom. That is folly, and it can cost a life. Let me tell you of my own grandfather, that you may see what a life lived this way can come to. He worked his farm with his own hands past his 90th year. I can see him yet, well into his 80s, out in the field at first light, walking miles in a day about his land, lifting and hauling alongside men a third his age, his back straight and his eye clear, and his mind as sharp as it had ever been. He had never in his life sat idle. He had never in his life eaten much that did not come off his own land or his neighbor's. He had lived every one of his days, surrounded by his children and his children's children, needed and honored and busy and at peace. And when at last his time came, near 100 years old, he did not linger for years in a sickbed among strangers. He simply grew tired and slowed, and one evening lay down in his own home surrounded by 3 generations of his family, and was gone by morning. Now I do not tell you this to promise you the same, for every life is different and much is beyond our choosing. But I tell you that such a life, long and strong and clear and independent to nearly the very end, is not so very rare among a people who live as I have described, and that it is a thing worth aiming toward, and that the aiming toward it begins not in old age, but in how we choose to live every ordinary day along the way. And that is the last thing I would have you understand, that this keeping of health is not something you begin at 60 when the troubles start to come. It is something built from childhood across a whole life. Our children are working and moving and out of doors from the time they can walk. They eat the same real food from the same garden their whole lives long. They grow up wrapped in the same close community that will hold them to the end. The strong, healthy old man was first a strong, healthy child, and then a strong, healthy man of middle years, and his health at 90 was the harvest of 90 years of good living, not the result of anything he took up at the last. This is a hard truth and a hopeful one both. Hard, because it means there is no shortcut, no fixing at the end what a life of poor living has undone. But hopeful, because it means that every single day, at whatever age you are building the health of your later years by how you choose to live now, and it is never too late to begin building better. The best time to have begun was in your youth. The second best time is today. Whatever your age, take up one of these ways you can, starting now, and you begin at once to change the harvest that your later years will bring. There is one more plain thing worth naming that goes with the eating, and that is drink. We drink water, good clean water, and plenty of it all through a working day, and milk, and the simple drinks of a farm kitchen. We do not pour down our throats all day, the sweet fizzing drinks and the colored sugar waters that the modern world has taken to, which do a body no good at all and a great deal of quiet harm over the years. Clean water is what the body was made to run on, and a person who simply drinks water when he is thirsty instead of a sweet manufactured drink has done himself another small daily kindness that adds up over a lifetime, and a word on moderation, which our old cooking teaches in its own way. We eat heartily, for we work hard and need the fuel, but we eat at set meals at a table, and we do not graze and snack and nibble all the day long as many now do. We eat and we are satisfied, and we stop, and we do not eat again until the next meal. That plain rhythm of eating, real meals and not constant nibbling, is itself a healthful thing, giving the body its times to work and its times to rest from working. Simple water, simple rhythm, real food. There is nothing hard in it, and much good. Let me gather it together for you now, plainly. If you wish to keep your body well and stay out of the hospital for as long as a person can, then move your body gently and constantly all the day long, for this above all. Eat real, whole food that you have prepared yourself, close to how it grew, and leave the factory food alone as much as you can. Live wrapped in the company of family and community, turning toward others rather than growing isolated and alone, for belonging is a powerful medicine. Slow your pace, want less, and fill your days with meaning and your heart with peace. Keep good hours and sleep well. Get out into the fresh air and the sunlight every day. And leave alone the tobacco and the excess of drink and the other things you know full well to be harmful. None of this is secret, and none of this is magic. It is simply the way human beings lived for nearly all of history and the way my people live still, and it keeps a body remarkably well across a long life. Take up as much of it as your own life allows and keep your doctor for the serious things, and I believe you will give yourself the very best chance at a long life of health and strength and independence that any person can have. For in the end, this is what the old way understood that the modern world has half forgotten. Health is not something you buy in a bottle or find in a single miracle food or fix at the last moment when everything has already gone wrong. Health is something you build quietly over a whole lifetime, out of 1,000 ordinary days, lived well, moving and eating and resting and belonging and finding your peace. The modern world wants to sell you health as a product. The old way knew it as a way of living. And that way of living is not for sale and never was. It is simply there, waiting, in the plain good habits our grandparents kept, without even thinking of them as health. Because to them, it was simply life. Take it up and live well, and may your days be many and your years be strong. If this is the kind of good old useful wisdom you have been hungry for, the kind that makes you a little more capable and a little more whole and connects you back to the good sense of those who came before us, then stay here with me. There is a great deal more where this came from, and I aim to bring it back to you, one piece at a time. Subscribe, and we will keep remembering the old ways together, because some of the most precious things we ever knew are the simple ones we let ourselves forget, and the quiet daily wisdom of a life lived well and whole is surely one of them.